This is a sample costume presentation that might help you as you prepare yours. Remember, there is no right approach. My approach is just one way of solving this challenge. I decided to go ahead and create a presentation based on The Cherry Orchard by Anton Chekhov and just walk you through how I made some choices based on the research. So here we go. My metaphor for the show is that Lyubov's life, her heritage and youth, is an abandoned cherry orchard, tangled, overgrown, and unfruitful. Through this presentation, I'll contrast the decadent excess of the family's life with the humble, realistic life of the rest of Russia. I'll focus on Act 2, set in the orchard, and specifically the scene when the tramp attempts to cross the orchard to the train station. It is early summer. For design elements, I wanted to focus on each of these areas and give them specific qualities. So for lines, I'll be looking for serpentine, uneven, or broken lines. Shapes, I'll be contrasting organic shapes with geometric shapes. The form that I'm focusing mostly on is cylinders. And the color will be a neutral color harmony based on the painting Tapestry by Viktor Borisov Mustatov. And the textures will include natural textures contrasted with the frivolous and polished glitz of high society. Here's the painting from which I draw the majority of the color palette. I have added some blues also to this in some of the men. So Lyubov is inspired by the French fashions. She's just come from Paris. She prefers expensive things, and her dress is often impractical. Here are some images that I found from the research. So I've got her in, I found several of these kind of walking suits with these sort of serpentine lines, really helpful to illustrate her walking through her cherry orchard. All of them with these trains and so on are a little bit impractical. Love these shoes with a fabric top and a leather bottom. This all over texture, as if the cherry orchard is part of her, or something like that would be really, really helpful. Here are some more walking suits I really loved and stole a lot from this one here. Again, because of the serpentine lines and elaborate shapes. Excessive jewelry, this lovely Art Nouveau handbag, and her hairstyle very much inspired in the period. So feathered hats, here's what we have. So here's Lyubov walking in her garden. I used this sort of tapestry-like fabric to give an all-over pattern for her, contrasted with this kind of pale green silk, which will have a little bit of sheen to it, feathers in her hat and ribbons and that fancy, fancy purse. Finally, now we have the biggest contrast, which is the tramp. I wanted to focus my research primarily on traditional folkwear. I wanted to show the unrefined and coarse textures that will contrast most strongly with the members of the family who are much more refined. And of course, dirt and grime embedded in the tramp as he comes to cross the property. That social contrast is really important to this scene. So here's these lapti, as they're called. They're kind of a straw sandal, a straw shoe, and then they have their ankles wrapped. Rather than socks, they're just bound with fabric for warmth and also for protection while they're working. This overcoat and sash I thought was really, really lovely. And even though it's winter, that he would probably bring all of his things with him. I like the cross wrapping here, the conflict that adds with these straps. Here's a peaked cap that he might wear. It's indicated in the script. And then these coarse fabric textures, this really rough linen or burlap and leather, and the leather in this one also is really nice. I wondered about felt boots or the straw lapti, and decided to go then with the lapti here at the bottom with wrapped ankles, a heavy, heavy wool coat, striped sash in fabric, and his knapsack made of distressed leather. That's pretty much my presentation. Again, I wanted to show the contrast of classes in these two. I wanted to put them into a kind of a natural and very neutral color palette inspired by a particular painting, and to show the differences, the nuances in class structure within the family and with the family with everyone else. To do that, I used a limited color palette, broken and serpentine lines, cylindrical forms and flowing shapes, and contrasts of textures.